Pham is a director at Stonewall Community Foundation, which began in the early 90s during the AIDS crisis as a collection of funds to ensure that LGBT people had a place to designate their legacy. Rikke Mananzala is the executive director of Fierce, an organization founded on the principle that LGBTQ youth of color must realize and manifest their own social and political power. Join Stonewall's Pham and Rikke Mananzala of Fierce as they discuss economic activism and the synergy of their organizations.
We talk so much about what's going on in the mainstream movement right now with Prop 8, with marriage, and I think what we kind of forget is behind all this are other issues that are affecting community members beyond marriage. For example, what is it like to be biracial, to be trans, to deal with xenophobia and homophobia and transphobia as well. We sent out a survey to about 50 LGBT people of color organizations in New York City. And the common theme, everyone who came back, they said, we don't have enough money. We need support. Right. We need you guys to leverage your resources to help us.
That story isn't even unique to New York City. I think, in a number of other locations across this, across this country, LGBT people of color organizations are struggling financially, and in their communities. Overall, the communities are struggling still with health crisis, housing crisis. Right. Unemployment rates are going up in our communities, of course, in general across the United States, but disproportionately in our communities, people of color communities, low-income communities, and young people in particular. The young people Fierce works with right now are experiencing unemployment rates more so than we've ever seen in a long time. And so the fact that these organizations are on the ground, in the communities, deeply connected to families, young people, some of the most dynamic on-the-ground organizing that's happening across the country is happening in local communities, not just at the national level. A majority of LGBT people of color organizations that exist that are underfunded are the ones that are actually the most connected to the communities that we all want to serve. How does Stonewall Community Foundation see itself as a part of a bigger movement? Where's your place in the movement?
We see ourselves as the resource and the funders for the movement. We strive so hard to bring everyone together and to make sure that Fierce knows the work that Hedrick Martin's doing, or even Green Chimneys, and how does one relate to the other, and how can Stonewall be there and be like a catalyst? Let's say, for example, Fierce, a donor might come and say, hey, we're interested in funding youth programs. That's great, but you know what Fierce also does? They are an education, community, and empowerment program as well. And your friends who are interested in that, come on board. Let us. We're matchmakers at the end of the day.
Is that what it's about, a dating game?
It's about a dating because we keep it real like that.
That's right.
I think what I'm really proud of and really excited is the work that Stonewall is doing around getting more young professionals involved in philanthropy. And about 3 years ago, we started this initiative called the Quarter Share Program. Because realistically, if you don't learn philanthropy at home, if you don't learn it at school, where do you learn it? Where do you get the value that is important to give back, that is important to support the community that has given you so much? I was thinking, well, how can I get my friends involved? I think, we're in our late 20s, early 30s, and just moving into our own career-wise. A lot of us didn't have the money, and you think of the term, philanthropist, and you think of Warren Buffett or Bill Gates. Someone can write a check for $1 million here, $1 million there. Why do we always think that you have to be wealthy to make a difference? And I said, why don't I apply it to myself? How can I give back to the community? And I was thinking, I pay a gym membership, $85 a month is taken out of my debit. I don't think about it. It's just part of what happens. Why can't we apply the same model to philanthropy? So I was thinking, how about I get a bunch of people together, we all contribute $25 a month to Stonewall Community Foundation, and then raise that money at the end of the year, do something really good about it. So we thought about how can we make this educational and fun for this group of members. And we came up with the name of Quarter Share. If I said it's very New York-centric in the sense that a quarter share is a share on Fire Island. I think it's every fourth weekend. And so we applied the concept, well, how about we give 75% of that money goes to Stonewall's general work, and the remaining 25% goes to an organization that we choose. And this year, I'm proud to say, we're up at 175 members.
Wow.
Despite being a recession, despite knowing that some of these people are getting laid off, and they're still so committed to the cause. So we're very excited and see who's going to come up this year as a grantee.
Thinking about who actually gives now, it's not just wealthy people. In fact, the statistics show that actually low-income people and moderate-income people are giving a larger percentage of their income to
Absolutely.
Organizations.
How did you get involved with Fierce?
So Fierce was founded in 2000. I was 16 in 1995. My parents found out that I was queer, and I lost their support. And what that meant for me was I faced a lot of challenges similar to the ones that Fierce members face today, which is having to navigate things that I shouldn't have to navigate by myself, whether that's trying to get into school or having to get a job really young, or having to do a lot of things by myself that were really difficult without financial support and without emotional support. And I think had I had an organization like Fierce that was going to expose me to other young people facing similar challenges, would have helped me feel less isolated. But more than that, would have provided me a vehicle to channel my anger, to channel my sadness, and to channel really the outrage that I felt, not just about my parents not supporting me, but then the challenges that I faced because I didn't have that support.
Now, Rikke, I love the name of the organization, by the way. I think it is fabulous. I think it's wonderful. I think it's a declaration.
So what it stands for is Fabulous, Independent, Educated Radicals for Community Empowerment.
Excellent.
Now, no way is there gay or lesbian in the acronym, but fabulous is clearly the stand-in for what that means in our community. In 1999, a number of the young people who then went on to found Fierce as an organization a year later, they were all involved in a service organization. They were there as clients, seeking services, being involved in programming that was really important. And they were looking around the table and being like, oh, you're homeless? Oh, you got harassed by the cops? Or have you been hanging out at the pier? Have they been bothering you down there? Or did you know the pier is about to get fenced off? They're about to make it this world-class park. Or, oh, your parents said this and that to you, or you left school because it's not safe. They're around the table being like, wow, it's good to not feel isolated, that I'm meeting other people who are experiencing the same thing I'm experiencing. And that, at the time, was almost enough. It was like, wow, I'm breaking isolation, and that step was important. But then they were like, you know what? We're collectively facing all these really serious problems, and yet there's no organization for us to actually identify our solutions to our problems for ourselves. Certainly people can do it on our behalf, and those organizations are important, but they founded Fierce as the only political organization by and for LGBTQ youth of color in this city. I think that's what we want to be remembered for, and I think this kind of synergy between Fierce and Stonewall is that, your donors, the people involved in Stonewall, the people who care about our community, part of their legacy is in being remembered for the choices they make with what they leave behind in resources. And at Fierce, where our members are really acting in that spirit too. They're saying, you know what, I can't just sit down and watch, or sit back and watch our community fall deeper into crisis. We need to do something about it. And they really do want to be remembered for that.